Right now, somewhere, a man is on his third coffee before noon, staring at a screen, waiting for his brain to turn back on. That fog, that 2 p.m. crash where your eyelids get heavy and your thoughts go slow and you reach for caffeine or sugar just to claw back an hour of focus. 400 years ago, a samurai could not afford that crash. If his focus dipped for 1 second in a duel, he died. So the warrior culture of feudal Japan built a meal system engineered to hold sharp, level focus across an entire day with zero crash. It's called Ichiju-Sansai. 1 soup, 3 dishes. And the reason it works is not the food itself, it's the architecture. Stay with me, because by the end you're going to understand how a bowl of rice, a bowl of soup, and a few small sides quietly solve the exact problem you're paying an energy drink company to solve badly. Let's talk about what's actually happening to your focus. The focus economy is booming. Pre-workout powders, nootropic stacks, energy drinks with 300 milligrams of caffeine, little cans and capsules promising laser focus and clean energy. And here's the part nobody selling you the can wants to admit. Most of these give you a spike, then a crash. You feel sharp for 90 minutes, then you fall off a cliff and you're foggier than when you started. So you take more. That's the whole business model. It's not focus. It's a loan you pay back with interest an hour later. The problem was never a caffeine deficiency. The problem is that your blood sugar is on a roller coaster and every spike buys you a crash. A warrior culture solved that 400 years ago without a single stimulant. So let's go back to the people who got it right. The Ichiju-Sansai format took shape during Japan's samurai era, growing out of the formal banquet dining of the Muromachi period, roughly the 14th to 16th centuries, and by the Edo period it had standardized into the everyday pattern. 1 soup, 3 dishes. But those names undercount it because rice and pickles are always there too, so assume that nobody bothered to name them. So the real plate is this: a bowl of rice, a bowl of soup, usually miso, 1 protein main, historically fish or tofu, and 2 vegetable sides, small bowls spread out, eaten in a deliberate order. Now here's what most people miss. This was not invented as health food. This came out of a warrior society obsessed with discipline, readiness, and self-control. Historical accounts even describe the samurai attitude toward eating as closer to a ritual than a pleasure. Food was fuel for a body that had to perform, and the man who embodies that better than anyone is Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi was real, and he is arguably the most focused human being Japan ever produced. Born around the year 1584, he fought his first duel, as the story is told, at 13. Over his life, he fought more than 60 duels and never lost a single one. He founded his own two-sword style. He wrote the Book of 5 Rings, and when he was done fighting, he became a painter, a calligrapher, and a philosopher whose entire teaching came down to one idea: mushin, a mind with no hesitation, no clutter, no wasted motion. His most famous duel on Ganryu Island against the master swordsman Sasaki Kojiro was decided by exactly that: total clarity under lethal pressure. Now I am not going to tell you Musashi won because of what was in his lunchbox. No menu of his survives, and anyone who claims to know what he ate for breakfast is selling you something. But the warrior culture that forged Musashi's discipline is the same culture that built this way of eating. Spare, structured, purposeful, nothing wasted, including energy. Before we go further, let's kill the obvious objection, because someone is already typing it. Isn't this just a lot of salt and white rice? Fair. 2 honest caveats up front. Miso, soy, pickles, and umeboshi are all salty, and a diet drowning in them runs high on sodium, so the modern move is low-sodium miso and going easy on the pickles. And a diet built on nothing but polished white rice actually caused real problems historically. A thiamine deficiency called biribiri. But here's the thing. The fix was already built into the system. You mix barley or whole grains into the rice, and you actually eat the sides. The sides are not garnish. The sides are the entire mechanism. And that is exactly where this gets interesting. So let's break down what this meal is actually doing, dish by dish, because the genius is in the structure. Start with the rice. On its own, white rice is a fast carb. It hits your bloodstream quick, spikes your blood sugar, and sets up the exact crash we're trying to avoid. If a samurai ate a big bowl of plain white rice and nothing else, he'd get the same energy dip you get at your desk. So rice alone is the problem, not the solution. The solution is what surrounds it. Now the soup. Miso soup is fermented soybean paste dissolved in dashi, a savory broth made from kelp and dried fish, usually with tofu, seaweed, and green onion floating in it. It's warm, it's salty, it's deeply savory, and it goes first, before the rice, on purpose. That warm, protein-rich liquid hits your stomach and starts signaling fullness to your brain before you've touched the carbs. It slows the whole meal down. In a culture that ate fast because it had to, the soup was the brake pedal. Then the protein. Historically, this was fish, grilled mackerel, or salmon, or tofu, or a bit of egg. For lower-ranking samurai and foot soldiers, fish was often a luxury, and the everyday plate was leaner than the movies suggest. So let's not pretend every warrior ate like a lord. But when protein was there, it did something specific. Protein digests slowly and blunts the blood sugar response of the rice sitting next to it. It's the second break. Then the two vegetable sides. Simmered burdock root, pickled daikon, seaweed, greens, mushrooms. These bring fiber, and fiber is the third break. Soluble fiber physically slows how fast glucose gets absorbed into your blood. 3 breaks, all hitting the same fast carb from 3 different directions. And the whole thing is held together by one underrated ingredient, umami. The fermented, savory depth of miso and soy is what makes spare, simple food satisfying enough to eat every single day for a lifetime. Strip the umami out and you've got sad boiled rice that nobody sticks with. The fermentation is what made the discipline sustainable. Now let me give you something to feel right now, because there's one piece of this you can experience in about 3 seconds. If you have an umeboshi, a Japanese pickled plum, go get one and put a small piece on your tongue. If you don't, imagine the most intensely sour, salty thing you've ever tasted. The second that sourness lands, your entire mouth floods with saliva. You can't stop it. That reaction is the whole point. Samurai carried umeboshi into battle as a portable ration, and historical accounts describe them fighting fatigue and sharpening focus with it. That saliva reflex kept an exhausted, dry-mouthed soldier's digestion working and his head clear. The sourness is citric acid, which is a component of the very cycle your cells use to release energy. You are feeling a 400-year-old fatigue countermeasure fire off in real time on your tongue right now. So here's why all of this matters, and this is where the folklore becomes biology. Think about that afternoon crash again. The fog, the heavy eyelids, the second and third coffee. That is not a character flaw, and it is not a caffeine shortage. That is a blood sugar crash. Here's the mechanism. When you eat fast carbs alone, your blood sugar spikes hard. Your body dumps insulin to clear it, and it overcorrects, dropping you into a low that feels like fog and fatigue. Studies on mixed meals show it plainly. A high white rice meal can spike blood sugar dramatically within an hour. But add protein, fiber, and fat to that exact same rice, and the rise is held to a fraction of that. Same carbs, completely different curve. That flattened curve is the difference between steady focus and the 2 p.m. cliff. And the order you eat in changes the result too. This next part is the one that sounds like superstition and turns out to be real. Eating your vegetables and protein before your rice, and starting with soup, measurably lowers the blood sugar response to the identical meal. The samurai rule of sipping soup first and alternating bites, rice, then main, then side, then back, was not just etiquette. It was pacing the carbohydrate load so it entered the bloodstream slow and even. That deliberate order you dismiss as table manners is the same tool a modern nutritionist would hand you to kill an energy crash. Then there's the miso itself. Miso is fermented, which means it is loaded with the kind of beneficial bacteria that support your gut, and research links that fermentation to better insulin sensitivity over time, meaning your body gets better at handling glucose the more of it you eat. And on the salt worry, a long-term study on miso soup and blood pressure was reassuring, not alarming, despite the sodium. So the one ingredient doing the most work for flavor is also quietly improving the machinery that keeps your energy stable. That's the steady hum a warrior needed to hold a blade steady at the end of a long grinding day. So let's clear up what this meal actually is, because the internet has it completely wrong. The biggest myth is that Ichiju-Sansai is a wellness thing, a mindful eating aesthetic, pretty little bowls for people who do yoga. That's backwards. This is blood sugar engineering built by a warrior class. The small bowls in the eating order aren't decoration. They're the performance technology. Second myth, that samurai were huge, meat-fed bruisers. Most of them, especially the lower ranks, ate spare meals of rice, miso, pickles, and vegetables, with meat rare thanks to Buddhist influence. And Musashi himself is described as lean, wiry, and weathered, not some hulking mass. The strength came from structure, not abundance. And the last myth, the one that should sting, you think you need a nootropic stack and 3 coffees to focus through a workday. A warrior culture got steadier, sharper, all-day focus out of rice, soup, and a sour plum by controlling blood sugar instead of spiking it. The crash you're medicating was engineered out of existence 4 centuries ago, which brings us to what we actually lost. We didn't lose access to focus. We lost the understanding that focus is downstream of stable energy, and stable energy is something you build with the structure of a meal, not something you buy in a can. The samurai didn't have a word for glycemic response. They didn't need one. They arranged the plate so the body stayed level, and a level body carries a level mind. Modern life took that architecture apart, handed you a fast carb on its own, and then sold you a stimulant to paper over the crash it caused. That's not progress. That's a problem wearing the costume of a solution. So here's how you actually use this. Build the plate as a formula, not a recipe. 1 bowl of rice, and mix in barley or use brown rice to slow it down and dodge the white rice problem. 1 bowl of real miso soup, made from actual fermented miso paste, not a powder packet full of additives. 1 protein, grilled fish like salmon or mackerel or tofu or eggs. And 2 vegetable sides, 1 leafy or simmered, 1 seaweed or pickled. Small separate bowls, not 1 loaded plate, because the small bowls are what pace you. Then eat it in order. Soup first, then alternate rice, protein, vegetable, back to soup. Do not eat the rice alone, and do not eat it first. That single change is what flattens the crash. Use this as the lunch that has to carry you through a demanding afternoon, the exact modern version of a warrior needing to stay sharp across a long day. And here's where people go wrong, so you don't. The number 1 mistake is eating the rice first and by itself, which spikes you and undoes the entire system. The second is skipping the sides to save time, which leaves you eating a bare bowl of white rice, which is the problem you were trying to avoid. The third is loading everything onto 1 big plate, which kills the pacing. And the fourth is buying instant miso full of additives instead of the real fermented paste that actually carries the live cultures. Get those 4 right, and you've rebuilt the thing exactly as it was meant to work. 400 years ago, a warrior sat down to a bowl of rice, a bowl of soup, and a few small sides, and stood up with a mind steady enough to hold in a duel. Today, that same meal sits in every Japanese cookbook, filed under healthy eating, its real purpose forgotten. The samurai didn't have supplements. They had structure, and structure held their focus when their life depended on it. That knowledge survived 4 centuries for a reason. If this changed how you think about the crash you've been drinking your way through, subscribe. Because we're breaking down the ancestral fuel behind these warrior cultures 1 meal at a time. And tell me in the comments, what ancient diet or method do you want broken down next? I'm reading them, and the best ones become the next video.